It was a quiet afternoon in the garden. A young girl named Alice sat under a big oak tree, her eyes half dreamy. Alice had long, wavy golden hair that shone under the sunlight. She wore a pale blue dress with puffed short sleeves, white apron tied neatly at the back, and black shoes with white socks. Little blue ribbon held her hair back from her face. She held an open book in her lap, but her eyes wandered to the clouds above. Suddenly, a white rabbit wearing a tiny coat ran past her, looking at a pocket watch. Alice blinked. A rabbit, with a watch. She stood up quickly, her dress swaying as she ran after him. Alice chased the white rabbit to a big tree with a hollow trunk. Suddenly, she tripped and fell straight down the hole. Her hair floated around her like golden ribbons, and her blue dress puffed up like a parachute. She passed floating teacups, spinning books, and glowing clocks as she gently drifted down. She wasn't scared, just curious. Alice landed softly on a pile of cushions. In front of her, a tiny wooden door, barely the size of a cat. She kneeled down, her dress spreading in a neat circle around her, and peeked through. Behind the door, a garden full of rainbow-colored flowers. "How do I get in?" she asked aloud. Then she noticed a bottle on a table with a tag, "Drink me." Alice drank a sip, and suddenly, poof, she shrank, now tiny. Her shoes looked huge next to her, and her dress draped like a gown. She giggled and ran toward the tiny door, ribbon bouncing with each step. She squeezed through, and entered Wonderland. The garden was alive. Gigantic daisies, roses, and tulips turned their heads and talked. "Who are you?" asked a grumpy violet. Alice smoothed her skirt, and said politely, "I'm Alice." She twirled around in awe, her blue dress catching sunlight through the petals. Alice found a long table under a crooked tree. A Mad Hatter with a giant green hat, Sleepy Dormouse, and a March Hare were having tea upside down. Alice joined them, sitting with her hands neatly on her lap. Her dress now had crumbs on it, and her ribbon was a bit messy. Alice wandered deeper, and entered a glowing forest, where giant bubbles floated in the air. She stretched her hand and popped Alice one. Wandered into a part of the forest suddenly. A wide smile appeared in the air floating. "Who are you?" she asked, tilting her head. "I'm someone who smiles when..." Next, Alice entered a spinning tower. Inside was a library where books floated upside down. Each book whispered a riddle as it passed by. She tried to jump and catch a book. She finally caught one that said, "To the Queen's Garden." Alice wandered into a maze of red rose bushes. Suddenly, trumpets. The Queen of Hearts arrived in a red dress with a crown. "Off with her head," she shouted. Just because Alice picked a flower, Alice stood tall, brushing off her dress, and said bravely, "That's not very kind." Suddenly, everything faded. Alice blinked and found herself under the same oak tree. Dress was still blue, her ribbon neat again, and the book still open in her lap. She smiled and whispered, "What a wonderful, curious place."